How's it going, everybody? When I built this camper, I got a non-stop barrage of comments saying, there's no air conditioning, there's no air conditioning. At that point, I didn't even realize they made a 12 volt DC air conditioner. I found one, and I'm gonna put that in for you today. This is the OutEquipPro 12 volt rooftop air conditioner. One thing I really like is it is extremely low profile, coming in at about 6 inches tall. This isn't going to have a lot of wind resistance. The other thing is it's also going to give you a little more clearance. You're not going to have to worry about the height as much, you know, hitting tree limbs, stuff like that, drive-throughs, if your camper fits in the first place. But this thing uses an inverter technology. Once it's down to temperature, it runs on this inverter technology that's supposed to let your battery last a little longer. It comes with everything you need to mount it. It's got a nice gasket. This goes around the top. It's got these bars for bracing. It's got the bolts, the hardware. This is your inside panel, vents. So it looks like it should be pretty simple. The one thing that is slightly different about my camper than most campers, RVs, trucks, tractors, is most of those have a thinner roof, maybe 2 inches, 2.5, something like that. My roof, I used 2x4s, which looking back, I think is a mistake. And then a sheet of 1/4 inch plywood on top and 1/4 inch luan on the bottom. So I have a 4-inch thick roof. So this may be a little bit tricky for me. I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit of finagling, but I'll make it work one way or another. I think most people would start by putting the hole right from the top of the roof, but mine's a rubber roof. It's kind of hard to tell where the studs are from on top, but here I can see my staples. So I'm gonna start by cutting a hole in the bottom side. I also have insulation to deal with, and I know there's gonna be some wiring in here. All right. So I've got center, and this is the front edge of the hole. One more thing I want to check before I cut this hole. So I want to make sure my trim is not going to hit the cabinets, which I would say that'll be just fine right there. All right, now I get to cut insulation out. Nothing fun about this. I actually got pretty lucky because none of my wiring was in this hole. It was just a little bit behind it. I guess I'm gonna try to cut through this board and leave most of it in place. Oh, gotta be careful on that rubber roofing. Just want to make sure this fits before I get too far. Looks like it fits pretty nice. Man, that thing is nice and low profile. Really like that. So this is the bar that holds it in. On a normal installation, it would sit across the roof like this and be hidden by your trim. The problem is, mine is so much thicker than a normal roof. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go against this 2x here. So I'll put another one on the other side, and then it'll clamp down on these 2x's, and that should work pretty well. Man, this insulation's terrible. All right, so that'll give it something to clamp to there, and that'll help support this plywood because this is only 1/4 inch. Plus, because this is so much thicker than a normal roof, the foam that they send isn't thick enough to block this insulation off. So that'll also let me fill this space better, keep that insulation out of my air conditioner. So I'm gonna put another one in here. Oh, Oh man, that's good glue. It just stuck to my arm. Yeah, that's filling that up pretty nicely. Looking at it like this, I guess I'm just gonna cut a little bit off of the corners, or maybe I'll just install it like that. I'll cut this corner back here. Better do this over here so I don't cut a hole in my roofing. All right, it's gonna go like that. I just need to cut another 45 right here. See, the problem is if you don't cut this down to size, it looks like it's going to leave an opening underneath of the rear part of the air conditioner that drains. I'm going to try something that it doesn't talk about. I'm going to try and glue this gasket back together with some contact cement. What you do is you let this sit a few minutes and then it should stick together pretty good. Boy, that looks like it should work. My corners seem to glue together pretty well. Yeah. All right. Next step, we need to seal around it. This is NovaFlex. It's used in the camper industry a lot, I guess. So I guess it's probably the right stuff. Just gonna set this next to it, about where I want it. That way I can figure out where I want to put these supports. These support the back end of the air conditioner. It's probably pretty close, so I'm gonna want them right around in here. And I guess I'll just center them on this hole. Set that right there. There it is. Now we run these bolts in. Got nice brass threaded inserts that they go into. This might be a little tricky because I already sealed this. Maybe I should have sealed this after I got the bars up, but I think I can still make it work. Yes, definitely made for a thinner roof. There's not very many campers out there with a 4-inch thick roof. I definitely went overboard on this thing, but like you see, I mean, if you just put a little thought into it, you can make just about anything work. Hopefully. I still see a little daylight over here. The screws they sent, they go into these little holes here, 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 and here, and those hold the shroud on with the controls. Those screws are too short for this roof. Not for a normal roof. They'd be fine for a normal one, but for this roof, those screws are too short, and they're such a small diameter, I can't find a screw that is a longer length that size. So I'm drilling these holes out to a slightly bigger size. I bought a number 8 by 5-inch screw. So I'm just, oh man. I'm gonna have to find some way to extend my drill bit to drill that one out, because my drill's hitting here, and if I drill crooked, it's gonna ruin stuff. I can drill this one out though. Not pushing hard, I'm just kind of letting the drill follow the hole that's there. So what I got was one of these impact driver drill bit with an extension. So I think this, yep, this will work. Once again, because of the thickness of this roof, this is the cold air duct, and it's supposed to slide over this. but because it's so thick, it doesn't connect. So I cut up this old Vote No yard sign, and I'm gonna just tape it together. I've stapled it a little bit, and it's gonna fit around that and extend my cold air duct. Now I'm just gonna put this up in there. Hopefully I can get it to stay. All right, hook up my wiring. So everything's hooked up. This is a fuse mount, so it looks like it'd clip in, but it's not. It's just holding a inline fuse. I don't know if you can see, these screws have a tapered head, and I have a feeling that would want to crack the plastic, so I put some tiny little washers on them. You can see up through these vents somewhat to line your screws up. That's looking pretty good. She wants to go canoeing. Man, I've got to say, minus my ugly ceiling paint that smudges up so easy, this looks really nice. Even comes with an extra vent in case one breaks. They send extra screws, extra bolts, and extra vents. So a lot of times you'll get something, there's 0 extras. So if you break something or lose something, you're out of luck. That's kind of nice. They actually supply you with 1 extra of most everything. Now, all I have to do is run the power down, pop it in the front into this box and hook it up to the battery to mount my solar panels and hook them up to the charge controller. After that, I can fire this thing up and see how it does. So I'm going to drill a hole big enough for 1.5 inch conduit to go through here. Going real slow because I have insulation in here and I want to avoid tearing it up. It'll wrap around that hole saw, cause major issues. I think I got it opened up enough in there. Now I'm just going to do the unthinkable and drill a big hole through the front of the camper. See, these are my helpers. They've been helping the whole time. So one problem I have, which I think I found a solution for, is the hole that I have to put that conduit in is way down there. But I think I've got a good way to do this. I'll show you how I figured it out. The plan is I'm going to run this through and then I'm going to cap both sides. So that'll hold the conduit in place. And these are bell ends. They're supposed to keep the cable from getting scratched. But with nobody to hold one side, I'd have to pull the other. So what I did is I took this little block of wood, I drilled 2 holes. I ran this piece of wire through, then back through. This one bell end is already glued on. So I'll feed this through the hole, then I'll be able to pull the pipe into it, and this block will hold pressure, so I'm able to glue this end cap on. Got it. Yep, it's on all the way. Perfect. Now the cable for this comes in 2 pieces. It's got this really nice heavy duty connector. There we go. Feels like it should stay in place, but because I'm gonna seal it up in here, I think I'm gonna tape it shut. I'm actually told that this now comes with just a single cable, no connectors. Makes it a little more simple for people. I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to seal this up, so I wrapped all the cables with several wraps of putty tape. That way they would squish into my cut and hopefully seal it up well. Then after that, I'll silicone around it. I'm just gonna cover this ugly stuff with some white silicone. Hopefully it'll look all right. The air conditioner is completely installed. I turned it on briefly the other day, but it wasn't that warm and it started raining. So anyways, this is the outside temperature, 78.4, and that's sitting in the shade on the tongue of the trailer. The inside temperature is 77.7 degrees. So it's almost 80 degrees in here. Not very loud, honestly. That's a lot quieter than a window shaker is in a house. Really quite nice. So far, it feels like pretty cool air coming out of there. That's actually nice. I'll have to let it go a little bit and see what it does. And one thing they did ask me about when I got this air conditioner was what my power source was, and I just upgraded this. So I've got a 300 amp hour LifePo battery, and then I've got two 200 watt solar panels on the roof, a 30 amp charge controller. So I think that should do the trick. Right now it's saying the battery's at 13.9. This is saying the battery's at 100%. I'm getting 330 watts of input. One thing I found in the instructions that's pretty handy is it has battery under voltage protection. So you can set this air conditioner so that it'll shut off at a certain voltage from your battery. So I'm assuming this thing can sense the voltage output from the battery, and when the battery gets down to that voltage, this will shut off to save your battery from having any problems. I haven't messed with that yet, but it seems pretty simple. It's all actually right there on the remote labeled, so you got voltage. I'm kind of learning as I go. So I've got the instructions here, just kind of reading through them. It has a light on it. That's kind of cool. Has a turbo mode for maximum cooling. Wow, that does get a lot colder when you push that button. I know this time is wrong. This says 1:20 a.m. but it started off at 77 something and it's down to 76.1. I think it's been running maybe 10 minutes, I believe. This air coming out of it is really nice and cold. I'm gonna move it down to the other end of the camper to get maybe a less direct reading. When I started corresponding with this company, OutEquipPro, for the air conditioner video, I was looking for an air conditioner and I found this one. Anyways, when I started talking to them about the video, I asked them how long it would run, and of course they asked me what kind of battery setup I had. I told them I was going to put a 300 amp hour LifePo battery in there, so they gave me the specs, and here they are. They said on standard mode it should run about 4 to 6 hours, sleep mode 6 to 8 hours, eco mode 4.8 to 6 hours, and then they said pairing the battery with even minimal solar 200 to 300 watts would significantly increase the runtime. And I totally believe that, because it's been running for about a half an hour, and this says my battery voltage is at 100 and it's putting out 334 watts of solar. So it seems to be keeping up with it really well. Honestly, it is really quiet. I can hear it, but it's not loud at all. It sounds like maybe somebody's got a fan on. I'm gonna go back inside. It's hot out here. I don't like it. Oh yeah, nice and cool in here. Another thing that makes me feel really good about this air conditioner is it's been running for about 45 minutes and these wires are totally cool to the touch. These are the cables that run the air conditioner. So I know it's not drawing enough to be dangerous. That makes me feel good. So far, I've got to say this thing is great. This camper's been sitting in the direct sun. It's 83.3 degrees outside, 67.5 inside. So it's dropped about 10 degrees in here. It says 219, and I believe we started at 110. So it's been about an hour and 10 minutes and it's dropped about 10 degrees in direct sun. 83 outside. This thing is nice and quiet. I really like that. It's probably comparable to a box fan, although I believe a box fan on high would be louder than this. It's putting out really nice cold air, real quiet. It's not drawing a lot of power, so it appears that the solar's keeping up with it. It seems maybe a little unlikely, but the battery still says it's at 100%, and it's been over an hour. So overall, this thing was easy to install. This installation was a little tricky, definitely harder than the average installation because of the thickness of my roof, but for a normal person, this would be an easy installation. It's nice and quiet, it doesn't use a ton of juice, and it puts out a lot of nice cold air. So overall, I love it. I'm super happy I got this. And honestly, for me, camping has always been more of a shoulder season thing. I like camping in the spring, I like camping in the fall. I actually enjoyed camping last winter, but summer is normally too hot for me. I don't like sleeping in a hot tent or a hot camper, and I think that's going to change. I think I'm really going to do a little more camping this summer. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope the install wasn't too tedious for you. I did want to show that step by step so people could have a real good idea of how to do it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.